I just went into the house to grab something, came back out, and I couldn't find my dog. He was sitting right there on the porch. I looked around, and here's what I found. Hi, bud. Did you find your spot? You want to go camping, don't you? Yeah, you want to go for a ride, don't you? Good boy. Okay guys, I got about 3 days time. I probably only have about a couple days worth of work into it, and I just finished the bed, so let me show you what we got. There we go. So as you saw before, I had that box built, and I added some other parts to it. I added a couple boards here for strength and to hold these two sides together. It's not the most ideal, I suppose, but I'm working with salvaged wood and leftover wood that I had from other projects as much as I possibly can. When you're working with these furring strips, I don't know if I'd do it like that again. They're pretty tough to work with because they're terrible quality wood, and it's hard to find anything even remotely straight, and they're full of knots and everything too. But considering all that, I think I'm ending up with a fairly square box that is strong enough to hold my weight. These side panels are the 1/4 inch wood that I used. The paneling wood is leftover underlayment for flooring, the same stuff I used to build my other van boxes and stuff. I had about a 3/4 of a sheet of that stuff left over, and a few scraps and bits here and there that I just kind of hung on to after I rebuilt the kitchen in our house. I used that underneath the linoleum floor in the kitchen. And then today I salvaged a half a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood. I tried to build a box lid with this same method here, and it was failing miserably, so I thought, well, you know, let me see if I can find I was actually going to go buy a sheet of 3/4 inch. That stuff's expensive, but I found about a half a sheet I salvaged out of a piece of junk scrap stuff I had laying in the garage. Anyway, I was able to salvage enough of that board to make a lid, and then I got a hole in it so I can lift it up with a piano hinge on the back side of it. But see how it's kind of a junky piece of wood. But hey, a coat of paint just so I don't have particles of wood falling off all over the place. A good sanding, and it'll be fine. So this is going to be where I'm going to keep my refrigerator, my Dometic CF50. If I end up taking it, it'll just store in here, and then I'll be able to access it under the bed. I'll have to lift this up. I may put some kind of a, I don't know, a catch or something on that. Maybe just a bungee or something to hold the door up if I need to hold it up, and then grab some food out of the fridge or whatever I need to do. This is going to be enough room for the fridge, and then storage for other items as well. There'll be plenty of room in there for that. But that just sits down on top of the box. And then the front part, I've got the seat, both seats right now are folded up. And the back of these seats, this black part, this rail right here, this has got some pretty good supports in it. Supports that back of the seat and these brackets for the folding mechanism. And I just have that board laying on top of it. I rounded off the corners just to kind of make it a little more smooth. And And then I put a hole right here so I can pull this out. And what I did here was I just I ripped one of those furring strips in half. That sticks down about an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch. And it fits down in a slot that I built here on the box. So the weight of it is on top of the frame of the box. And then that just kind of locks it in place, having that strip on there. Now this board, this pine board here, is screwed to the top of the box. So it just stays stationary. When I got that up, or if I lift this up, that piece just stays stationary. But then that just fits down in there, and I've got a real snug fit. So when that's in there, this thing is rock solid. Well, as rock solid as it's going to be. And that allowed me to have all this room underneath it without any supports or anything for storage. So I can put, heck, I could probably put at least 2 crates, one here and one there, those storage bins that I have, right in there. And then that'll leave this open. If I have that seat, small seat folded up like it is, I've got this open as an entrance and an exit, so I can walk all the way through here. But let me show you. I don't know if I can hold the camera so you can see it. I'm sitting on top of it. I mean, it's got a little spring to it, but it's definitely enough to support my weight. I'm sure it could probably take a lot more weight than that. It's only spanning from the edge of the box to where it sits on the back of that seat is about 30 inches. The total distance of this bed from the back of this seat, because my toes and stuff can go over the edge of that if I have to, from the back of that seat to the back of the bed right here is 72 inches. So it's well, actually it's just a couple inches shorter than 6 feet. It's about 70 inches. And man, I'm kind of pleased with how it came out. It came out actually better than I had expected. It's not perfectly straight, like trying to get that edge lined up, you know, but who cares? It's going to support my weight. It's going to do the trick. What I'm going to do next is have to figure out what I'm going to do for a mattress. There's just tons of different options. I don't know. I may consider trying one of those self-inflating camping mattresses. They're only about 1.5 inches thick. That way I can roll it up and stow it away. That's an option. They have another one that's a trifold. That's about 3 inches thick. It's probably really comfortable, but this bed is already higher than I wanted it to be. I still have plenty of room here. Let me get my tape measure real quick. And I wanted to throw a few of these numbers out to you, so if there's somebody out there trying to do something similar, you'll have some ideas. All right, let's see if I can hold this camera while I put this tape out there. So that's on the back of the seat right there, touching the back of the seat to the back of the box. 70 and a quarter. It's 2 feet in width, which is about the best I could do. I could have extend this edge out probably another, at least maybe 2 inches. Could have made it 2 inches wider. It's 24 inches wide right now, that's where it's going to be. And that's basically halfway between the wheel wells. And my thought was, I've got all this space to basically do the same thing with. If I roll put another one in here where we can sleep 2 people. I still need to put a board across the top edge of this so I have a lip to lay another sheet of 3/4 inch plywood on top of, that's going to span over here to this bench or whatever I make over there. But I'm not worried about that at this point in time. I'm just trying to think in the future how I'm going to make this work to be able to put two people in it. What else? 70 inches long, 24 inches wide. The height off of the floor, at least to the top of the box, is 21.5 inches. I would have liked to have it about 2 inches, maybe even 3 inches shorter than that. But having it sit up on top of that seat that's folded up, that's what kind of limited or set the standard as to how high I had to build this thing. So that way, when you look down the edge of the bed, it's basically level all the way across. Now it raises up just slightly on that end, but probably not more than 1/4 of an inch. I won't even notice that, especially after I get some sort of a mat or something up here. But I decided I am going to paint this, so next step's going to be pull it all out, sand it down real good, and get some sort of paint on it. Since this is an older sheet of 3/4 inch plywood that was laying around, it's kind of grungy looking. It's not going to hurt anything like that, but it definitely would look better if I put a coat of either white or a light gray paint or something on there. If I could get a light gray paint that kind of matched the side paint, that'd be pretty decent, I think. Or even white, because these small spaces, I'm partial to white. It kind of helps brighten it up and make it feel, I don't know, a little bit bigger, I guess, than what it actually is. But that's nice. I'm going to have all that storage underneath there. Got all this area to walk and move. I could put my, heck, I could put my lawn chair in there if I wanted to. I have one of those lounge chairs and probably extend it all the way out. Heck, I could have used that for a bed and save myself all this work. Anyway, there's with the door shut, so I got plenty of room there. You'll see, like, my pillow could go clear up against that window. Probably have condensation or something on the window at night if it's cold outside, but we'll see. And somebody did make a comment about how I was happy to have these windows, and we had the full windows in our last van, and I really honestly like the windows. I'm one of those people that I like to wake up in the morning, pull the curtain open and look outside and see what's going on, or if I hear funky noises and weirdness going on, I could peek out one of these windows and see what's going on outside. Either door on the back and then either side door on those sliders. It's going to be, I'm probably going to use Reflectix and make some curtains or whatever for it. Not necessarily for the insulation, but the Reflectix is kind of cheap and it's just easy to cut, easy to work with. If I could find some cloth, if I had a sewing machine, I'd sew some up, but I don't have either one. So here's kind of a look at the shelf for the bed here. And you can see I actually did have this another 3 inches longer, but this is a little bit higher yet right here than where it's sitting. And not only makes the board a little bit shorter, but it also allows it to sit down where it's just almost perfectly level. And I just kind of did some preliminary measurements trying to figure out how tall that needs to be in order to line up with this. And I got lucky, it actually came out, I couldn't have asked for it to be any better, to be honest with you. So the seats go back, and the back of the seat is right at this board, and then it angles up. So I'll have all this area right in here for storage as well. That might be a good place to strap a 12-volt battery or something. I could put some eye hooks in here and then strap it down. Not to mention it's going to be up against the back of the seat. Of course, maybe that won't be a good idea if it happens to get acid or something on the back of the seat. That wouldn't be too cool. But then I got this area underneath. If I did build the full bed, the other side just like this This is probably where I'd put my dog's bed, and he'd be sleeping in his own little dog hotel underneath here. It'd be kind of cool. He actually really likes to sleep underneath. Like, I have a desk in one of the bedrooms, and when I'm working on the computer, he always crawls up underneath that desk. He likes to be underneath things in cubbies and stuff. He'd just probably love it. Anyway, guys, as far as these, I don't know if you can see with that lighting, probably not too good. Maybe go to the other side and let you see it, but these are going to be just fine. Those weather strippings, that last coat I put in there made it look pretty smooth, and adhered that corner nicely, so there's no give in that at all. So I should be in pretty good shape there. At least I know it's not going to get worse. And yeah, so there we are, guys. Let me know what you think. And some of you already have been throwing me all kinds of good ideas and suggestions. A couple of people on YouTube that have channels that live in smaller, tighter. One Transit Connect, of course. One Awesome Inch had one set up, and Element Van Life, I think the guy's name, young kid, lives in a Honda Element. I actually almost considered getting a Honda Element because of his channel. He's got his set up pretty darn cool, and his bed in there is a pretty darn ingenious idea, the way he built that thing. But anyhow, I didn't. I ended up with this Transit Connect, which is fine. It's gonna work out for me, I think. I'm getting kind of excited about getting it all set up and then hit the road. So next step, like I said, pull all this stuff out and put a good sanding on it, and then start throwing some kind of paint on it. Some of those areas where the pieces fit together, like down here where they fit down into the little fern strips I put on the floor, I'm not going to be able to paint that because that's a tight fit. But at least the main surfaces and what you can see, I can put some paint on there and make it look nicer, and reduce some of that dirt and wood chips and stuff that's coming off of that stuff inside the van. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in, and hang in there. I'll bring you back and show you where I am next time after I get some sanding and painting done. So we'll see you on the next one.